When teaching healing, it's important to understand that although you would think everyone would want to feel better, and they probably do, not everyone always has the same motivation to get better or to live. And it's quite important for us to sort of just cover this area really. I want to cover it in greater detail later on about positive and negative reasons for staying alive, for survival, and it's important to cover that, but I'll do that in greater depth later. So what I want to discuss now is I had a lady that she had kidney problems. Her kidneys had failed. She was on dialysis, been on it for a number of years. She was quite overweight and generally unhealthy, as well as the kidney failure and the dialysis, which was not helping. And she also had a weakened heart from her overall health. So the doctors would never do a kidney transplant because her heart was too weak, and they were scared that if they put her under, she would never come round again. So when I was giving her healing and discussing healthy living, it was trying to explain to her that if she could get a bit healthier, lose weight, become strong, if the heart itself, it's a muscle, if it could become stronger and healthier, then possibly in the future, 6 months, a year, 2 years, possibly in the future, the doctors may feel that her heart would be strong enough for their kidney transplant. And I said, then you could have a kidney transplant. And she turned around to me and said, yes, but if I have a kidney transplant, I'll lose my car. I said, what do you mean you lose your car? She says, well, I get a disability allowance for my car, and I'd lose my car if I had a kidney transplant. And it suddenly sort of dawned on me that the way her life was, with the help she was getting, support, financial benefits, and because she wouldn't have been able to go to work really, so there was all the financial aspects to it, and the car and all the other support. She had become dependent on her illness. She needed the illness to financially stay viable. And it then just reminded me of a film that was on telly, Monty Python film, and there was the blind man, and Jesus comes along and heals the blind man, and then the blind man started shouting and said, I'm a blind beggar, how can I, you've made me see, how can I earn money now, how can I make a living? And got very upset because they'd cured him. And I suppose, that's an exaggeration maybe, but people can become dependent on their health, their ill health, their illness. So if you've got someone who's extremely lonely, and then they get more ill and they have carers coming in to look after them, to get them up in the morning, put them to bed, because they've now got contact with people, because they're now seeing people, to get better would mean that they would lose that. It would mean they'd go back into that loneliness again. So you have to be very aware that when you're giving someone healing and you're trying to make them feel better, that they also have the motivation and incentive to get better. That they don't have negative reasons that may stop them from getting better. Because it doesn't matter what you do. If you've got someone who smokes cigarettes and you're trying to encourage them to give up smoking, it's the mind you've got to treat, not the body. The body's addiction is beatable, easily beatable. But if you can't change the thinking, the mind, then you will never stop them smoking. You'll never take them off drugs. You will never, illegal drugs. You will never be able to give any real healing. And I know that when you've worked with people that are dying, some absorb the energy and then they get to a point where they stop absorbing it, and then they die within a few days or a few hours. It's like they no longer want it. They reject it. So if you're giving healing to someone on their deathbed and they reject the healing, because you're trying to heal them, you're trying to keep them alive. So what you do is, the healing you send them is for comfort and to help them go over. You find that they may absorb it. It's just a different way of sending the energy, which we must go into great detail later on. But it's a very subtle difference in some ways, but it's a difference of them accepting the healing and not accepting it. So if you are going to try and heal people, you need to know why they want to get better and understand that, and not judge them if they don't want to get better for whatever reasons. It's really important. It's unconditional energy, love. Unconditional means you put no conditions on it, so no judgment. It's important that you don't judge, and it's important you understand that not everyone wants to live forever. And another lady, I was given her healing, and I'd give her healing with a friend, two of us had worked on it, and then I was given the healing on my own, and she had 6 months to live. The doctors had given her 6 months to live, and this was 3 months after that. So in theory she had 3 months to live. And she had terminal cancer, lung, spread. There wasn't, this healing wasn't about cure. This healing was about just helping her, the symptoms, just helping her care, helping to relax her, helping to ease her to the other side to some degree. But when she had the healing, she was starting to shake a lot. Now, it wasn't a fit, as in it was affecting her brain. She was very conscious, very aware, very scared, but her body was shaking and trembling and jumping about, really, because she's laying on the floor, but the muscles all jumping and jerking. There's a lot of movement of energy within the body. And we did the healing, and I carried it on and calmed her, and we did the full half an hour session. And when I spoke to her about 2 or 3 days later, she said, "Oh, I've been to my doctor." She said, "I feel so much better, and I've been to my doctor, seen my doctor," which was seeing regular anyway. And the GP had used the M word. I said, "The M word?" She said, "Yeah." He said, "It's a miracle." He said, "My improvement was a miracle. I'd improved so much in such a short space of time that it was a miracle." And it's good to hear that word, and certainly from a medical professional as such. And you think, great, we're going to do healing every week. We may never beat this illness, but we can make her feel better. Then great. She had this dog, which is a small dog, really old dog, really old. I mean, I didn't know it was still living when I looked at it. It was so old, and it was blind, it was deaf, it was arthritic, hobbling around, hardly managing to get anywhere. A lot of vets would have, if you take me to the vet and say, "Could you put my dog down?" they wouldn't have questioned. So, they would have just done it. But anyway, in the meantime of her phoning me and me doing the next treatment, the dog died. And she phoned me up and she said, "I'm so depressed." She said, "I don't want a treatment this week." And I said, "Well, give it a few days, give me a ring, and we'll arrange another treatment." And I never heard from her again. And then I heard from her husband, and about 6 months after that phone call, she was dead. So even when she had the opportunity to have this healing, even when the doctor said that this healing had helped her so much that it was a miracle, her incentive to live had gone when the dog died. That was it. The dog died. She was ready to go. So, as much as you want to heal people, you see someone dying and you want them to live, it's not down to you. You will never, ever be able to beat their own wishes or their own desires. And it comes back, if you've got someone who's suicidal, you can help them as much as you can. You can give them as much support as you can. You can let them know you're there. But you can never blame yourself if they do, because people make choices. And people have the right to make choices, and that woman had the right to make the choice not to have any more healing and to pass over. She had that right. So we will go into greater depth, because some people will turn around to you and say, "I want to live for my children, I want to live for this, I want to live for that," and give you loads of reasons why they want to live. But there's negative reasons and there's positive reasons to live, and we need to go into greater detail so you understand that, because a negative one will always counteract, will always go against you when you're given a healing. And So it's important to understand that. Okay, thanks.